Let's now explore how we can set up regulation down, regulation up energy services. So for this example, we can click on the regulation down, where it's the same exact behavior as we do with any other service. We set up the power that we want to have as a regulation down, and we set up the times that we want this service to be active for. For the simplicity of the example here, we set it up for a very small period of time, from 5:20 a.m. to 5:23 a.m. We click on recurring schedule because we want to have this repeated every day. We click save, and also we're gonna set up the regulation up to follow after the regulation down operation. We click here. We can set it up to be exactly a few minutes after the end of the regulation down. So it will be for a few minutes from 5:25 to 5:28 a.m. We click save, and then we move back to the real-time time series operation of the network to visualize the behavior we expect to see. So for the first service that we expect to see is called the regulation down. What we expect here to see is that we want to increase the load in the network. So essentially we need to increase the grid operation over here. So the power from the grid should increase. In order for this to be achieved, what we are doing, we are forcing the VATS battery modules to start charging. So you're going to see a negative behavior here with the VATS battery modules in order to create the increment of the power in this particular case. So now we're waiting to become 5:20, and we're gonna start seeing the regulation down activity jumping in. So immediately we see at almost 5:20, we see the service being activated in a fraction of a second, and we can now visualize that the expected outcome is already happened. We are able to increase the grid power by 200 kilowatts, and we can see this is because we are forcing the VATS battery modules to start charging with a rate of 200 kilowatts. Now if we go up, we can see that the amount of power here increased and is already supplied by from the grid, and we can wait over here to see the end of the behavior. It's important to note that in this graph here, the service is denoted with the green bar below the service. So at this particular case, we can see that the regulation down 200 kilowatts is denoted with this bar that appears below the graph. Now at 5:23, we expect the service to finish, and immediately 2 minutes after, at 5:25, we expect to see the opposite behavior, where we want to reduce the amount of grid power by 200 kilowatts. And in this particular case, what we're going to expect to see is that the grid power will go down to reduce by 200 kilowatts, and the amount of battery power will start increasing by around 200 kilowatts as well. So let's leave the cursor here and visualize the operation as it goes in real time. Okay, now we are at 5:23 and we can see that the regulation down service is ending and the amount of grid power is returning back to its previous state. Now in 2 minutes, we expect to see the opposite behavior where regulation up will take place, and we expect to see that we're going to be reducing the grid power and also increasing the watts battery power. Now at 5:25, we can see that the regulation app is already active and we have increased the power from the batteries to 200 kilowatts, which means that it's reducing the grid by almost 200 kilowatts. So now we can see clearly the gap between the load and the grid. So this is the amount of energy that the customers need to be supplied, and this is the amount of energy that is supplied by the grid. We can see that it's now reduced by 200 kilowatts, and the rest of that amount of energy is provided by the watts battery modules. So this service will keep running for at least 2 minutes, and once it's finished, the grid power will return to its previous position. Also, in this particular case, we are visualizing that the energy service is denoted with the purple color over here, which is also the color that denotes the energy service, which is in this case regulation up. Now we reach 528, which is the end of the regulation up service. The grid power returns to the previous position.